Hello everyone and welcome to Sewing Saturdays. My name is Gina and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this little cute bag. It's a simple project. It's made with hexagons and it's a beginner project. For all the beginners out there, this is very easy to make and you can accomplish a lot. So if you do craft shows and you want something to sell, something quickly that you can make, this is definitely a quick little bag that you can make. And I use fat quarters for this. So a fat quarter, I took this bigger bag and I also made the little mini that you see that fits on the inside. So I'm just gonna give you the instructions and we're gonna get started. So the first thing I'm gonna show you is how to create your pattern. But I also will put this pattern on the description of the video, but I'm going to show you how you can make it. So I joined 2 sheets of paper because I needed to be longer because one sheet wasn't long enough. So you see I joined them here with tape. And then I have here a hexagon. This hexagon that I'm using here is from Creative Grid, and I believe this is an 8.5. Okay, so what I did is see if you see my hexagon here has a line in the middle. So if I want to do half hexagons, I could use this line here. So what I did here, I brought the middle line all the way to the bottom of my paper. So that's my middle line right here. And I brought it to the middle, right at the end of my paper. Then I got my ruler because I want my bag to be slightly bigger. I got my ruler and I needed 2 inches this way, so I got the ruler. I put the 2-inch mark here on this edge of the hexagon, and then I marked it 2 inches this way, so I made my line. Then I went on this side, the 2-inch line, and I made my line. Then from here to the top, from the bottom of the hexagon to the top, I went 1.5. Okay, so then I went 1.5 this way and I made that shape. Okay, and this is what I'm going to be using to make the bag. Okay, so you're going to cut that up. You will cut it. Scissors or cutters, if you have a cutter that you use normally just for paper, use it. I don't recommend you using your cutter that you use for fabric because it dulls the blade. Paper will dull your blade. Alright, so now what we're going to need with this pattern, you're going to cut 4 pieces. So if you're working with directional fabric, like I'm going to be using in this little bag, this new bag that I'm making, I'm going to be using this one here that I really like. So if you use fabric that's directional, just make sure you open it and see where you want your pattern to be. So we know this is going to be our top. Okay, and this is our sides. Okay, so then what we're going to do is, if you want to center something in the middle, then you would go and pick an area to cut your pattern. You know you're going to need 2, one for the front, one for the back. Alright, so don't forget that. I already cut my pieces, so I have them here. So I have 2 for my lining. So you're going to cut 4. 2 lining and 2 main. Okay, and that would be your pattern. So I already have my pieces here, so I picked this one here and this one here. I used an interfacing on all 4 pieces. The lining I use an SF 101. That's a Pilon product. It's fusible, so I fused that. And here I just used the regular fusible fleecy. Okay, just to get it slightly thicker. but you can even use the same that we used here if you want. Okay, you can definitely use the same one, but I just used the fusible fleece. So I have all my 4 pieces here, and we're gonna get started. What I would like to mention is for the little bag that you see here, you're gonna follow exactly the same instructions that we're gonna be that I'm gonna be giving you how to sew this. The only difference is the size, of course. And what I really did with this one here, I use exactly my hexagon here. Okay, so I just used this part here, the bottom of the line, and I traced this exactly. Okay, that is the pattern for my little one, for my little tiny little bag. Okay, I won't be doing the little one right now. I'm just going to give you instructions for the bigger one, because then you can just do this one after. It's exactly the same thing. It's just a smaller form. So we need these 2 pieces. Then we'll need a zipper. So I'm using zipper by the yard, but you can use just a regular zipper. Just make sure it's slightly bigger. So I'm just going to cut a piece of mine here, and so I'm going to have that. I have a pull here that I'll be putting it on after, and we're going to get starting to sew it. Before we get started, our lining, we're going to go to the longer side that we have here. I'm actually going to put one on top of the other and make sure they're even together, really even. And we're going to go here to our bottom, and we're going to do about 1.5 inches from the tip in. Let's see, let me push this forward a little bit so you can see better. So 1.5 inches from the tip, we're going to do a little marking, and the same thing on this side. From the edge of your fabric, 1.5. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line, see, from this tip here to this tip here, and I'm actually going to cut that off. Okay, all right. Alright, you can fold and make sure they're even, and they are, and we're going to leave that like that, so it's going to slightly smaller. Okay, so now let's get starting with the sewing instructions. So now we're just going to add our zipper. So we've done lots of bags with zippers, so in this one we're going to get our main, zipper down. Okay, and you're going to secure it in place. I always like to secure my zipper in place first before I attach one piece of my lining. After I sew that on, so after I sew my zipper on here, use a zipper foot, and you should be sewing around here about a 1/4 of an inch in from here to here. And you're going to secure that in place. Then you're going to bring one of your linings, and we're going to sew this on top. Alright, so don't worry about it that this is not the same, because remember we cut that off. It's supposed to be that way. So the only thing I'm concerned is that these edges here, you see that one there and this one here, that they are even there when I attach my lining. So I want to make sure those ones, they match. Alright, so you're going to go ahead and sew that on. So I sew it, and I did a top stitch. So I sewed it like that, and then I turn to the other side and do a top stitch. So we're going to do the same to this side. So get your main, and again you have to make sure that they kind of are even together. so when you go down like this, that they would be even. And put some pins. Then you're going to do the same thing. Secure in place. Put your lining again on top, right sides together. Make sure again you even these out. Make sure they even together. And you're going to go ahead and sew it. When you're done sewing it, put a pin here just to show you. You're going to turn it to the other side and to the other side, and you're going to do again a top stitch. Okay, so I top stitch mine, and it should look something like this. Now I'm going to need, if you're using a regular zipper, your pull is already going to be in, but mine doesn't, so I need to add my pull. So I'm just going to open a little bit here because I need to close my bag. And I'm just going to take a little bit of the teeth out in one side. You want to make sure it's even. If you're doing it this way, then I'm going to bring that to the middle and I'm going to leave it. Alright, so now we're going to be closing our bag. We're going to go here, we're going to bring these together. Okay, and I want you to put these together and do a seam right across. Okay, so we're going to sew this here, and I'm going to use about 1/2 inch seam allowance here. So we're going to join these two. Also, we're going to go here and we're going to join these two. We're going to mark an opening, I would say about 2 to 3 inches, to turn our bag inside out. Okay, if you're using a regular zipper, okay, let me just show you. So if you're using a regular zipper, you're not going to be able to have your pull in the middle, okay? So what are you going to do? You're going to open your zipper, and then on this side, what I want you to do, get needle and thread and join these two pieces. So ends up kind of close here, because we're going to need that kind of slightly close when we close our bag. Okay, so don't forget that. So if you have a regular zipper, one end, because you need to bring this to the middle before we close it, because otherwise you can't open your bag. What I want you to do is, this is going to be like that. So you're going to get needle and thread, and even if this is open like this, you're going to sew a couple stitches here just to have these together, because it will be easier to close the bag. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and join these pieces, and I'll be right back. So after you sew this part here and that part there, you left the opening to turn it inside out. What we're going to do, we need to close the sides here. So you're going to go here and you're going to open your seam. You can always go to the iron and kind of press a little bit if you want. And I'm actually going to go ahead and kind of trim my ears. See that? I'm going to trim those ears off. Do the same thing here on the side. See, those little ears, I'm going to trim them off. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this tip here that I just opened my seam like that, and I'm going to bring this all the way in to where my two fabrics are in the middle of the zipper. So I want to match that fold right to the middle of the zipper with my fabrics here matching like that, and with this matching like that. So it's going to create kind of a fold like that. You see? So I end up with this even like that, and this side also even like that. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring these together like that. Alright? So I'm going to adjust them like this. I want to make sure my middle is there, right where the zipper is. And I'm going to go ahead and pin it. See? Like that. This side here, we're not gonna do anything. We're just gonna just, we're gonna open this up also, kind of trim this off, just clean it up a little bit so we don't have this so or you can just go like this, okay, just to ignore that. So we're gonna do the same here. Let's see this again. So you're gonna open your seam, you're gonna bring this back to where your zipper is. This is why I told you that's better that the zipper is closed, so because then you bring this tip all the way to the middle here, and you see it's matching this side and this side. This is where my tip is. Okay, so I go here and I adjust these fabrics like this, and I'm gonna fold them and making sure that that stays put in place. If you're more comfortable, you can always put a pin there if you think it will help you, and then you go ahead and you fold them. Okay, so now you're gonna go to the machine. Of course, this zipper has to be folded like this, okay, towards the lining. If you see, my zipper is folded towards the lining. I can always put a pin here just to make sure it's secure, and the same thing here, it's folded to my lining. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sew this from there to here and there to here. All right, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I did 1/2 inch seam allowance, so there, and I sew there. I'm gonna trim the zipper. Okay, I have a little bit extra of pink. I'm going to trim that off also. You can trim your seams a little closer, but before I do that, I always like to bring it to the other side. Make sure I cut everything before I start trimming, because what happens is if I didn't catch my corner here when my fold, that means I'm going to have to sew a little bit more in. So it's better to check first, make sure you cut everything, then you can go ahead and trim this closer. Okay, so I'm gonna open my zipper and I'm gonna try to bring this, so just need to go see where my zipper is and make sure I actually caught it. I'm gonna make sure I cut that tip. Yeah, it looks good. I'm gonna go to this side and I'm gonna check. Also, I'm gonna bring it out so you can see what I'm checking for. I'm checking, making sure I caught the fold that I did. Make sure I don't have any raw edges there. Okay, it's good. So now I can definitely go ahead and trim a little bit of this bulk if I want to. Pinking shears is great for this stuff also. For this little one, you remember how I told you to cut about a little piece here? So you're not going to do the same size. You have to cut a little bit less because it's a smaller bag. You can't do 1 inch. You have to go slightly less than 1 inch. Alright, so from the lining, when I told you to do 1 inch in and go this way, on this one you have to do maybe 3/4, just slightly less. Okay? So let's turn it to the other side. Now you're gonna adjust your bag. Now adjust your little triangle here on the side. The lining should be spread in both sides. If you want to reduce your lining, sorry about that. So your lining ends up a little bit less bulk on the inside. You can always trim on the bottom here. You can do about a half an inch shorter. That will make your lining slightly smaller. So half an inch, that would be a quarter in each side, because you have the front and the back. Okay, that's just an idea. I don't mind mine being this way, but if you want yours to be, I'm just gonna go ahead. Just gonna go ahead and now finish this part here, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I saw my lining, and what I did here, about 1 inch in, I've put my fabric like this folded. Let's see if you can show you here better. Okay, and to create more of a bottom on the lining, I saw a little line there, so I end up with a little corner like that. Of course, you can always do this in the wrong side, do that little part there, and then turn it to the right side, and that would be hidden. But don't cut them off. This is good for stability, so that the bag has a little bit more shape. But mine, I don't mind. It's all finished anyway, so I don't mind it ends up here on the top. So I did mine after. On this one here, I actually did before. See? I did it before. I did it on the inside. So end up like that. And on this one, I left it like this. Just options. Just different options that you can do. So ends up cute. It doesn't really matter. It's in there, so you can push it there, and gives you a little bit more stability on the little bag. And the little bag is just like that. Of course, I'm gonna add Made with Love little tag here. And I also gonna use maybe, I think that will be really cute for a little zipper pull. What do you think? I think that's cute, so I'm probably gonna put that one. I had some with sewing that's really adorable too. But I think this one I probably will save for some fabric that I have with sewing. Then I'll add that one on, because it's a really cute one too. So on this one, I think I'm gonna stick with this one. And of course, I'm gonna add my tag, and our project is done. I hope you enjoyed this project. We'll see you next Saturday, and happy sewing, everyone.